Here we go. Hello, everyone. It is Suzanne and Alethea. I like the pink.
Yay!
Hello.
Like Bam!
We are broadcasting from Punta Cana, Dominican Republic. We are here for the Fit, Fab, and Fulfill Freedom Retreat. Apologize, we're a few minutes late, but you know when you travel, all sorts of different experiences and opportunities get presented to you. So we've been navigating, just getting live and doing all the beautiful things. So we're gonna wait a minute or so for people to have an opportunity to join back in. And this is my girl, my mentor, my friend, Miss Alethea Owen, and she is going to be joining me, and we're going to have a conversation about finding your fabulous. It's going to be a juicy conversation. But while we're waiting for a few people to join, let me tell you, we are Punta Cana, Dominican Republic. Hello, Fazia. How are you? We are at the majestic hotel and resort, and it is exquisite. The rooms are spectacular, are they not?
Yes, they are amazing.
Jacuzzis on our patios. Just so you know, Fazia, because I know this is one of your things on your list to do. The weather is exceptional. And we are having a fantastic time. We're having a fantastic time. So what better place to talk about this conversation of finding your fabulous? And so before I jump in, let's see who's there. We've got, okay. Let's see who we got. So we got Fozzie, and I'm sure there'll be a few people just jumping on in a minute or so. But let me begin by introducing this beauty beside me. That's one of our words, our theme for the retreat. We're talking about beautiful versus pretty, and we're going to talk about the range of beautiful and what it truly means. And so I'm sitting here with the founder. Well, first of all, many of her might know her. Many of you might know Alethea as from Game Changer International. She is the branding expert extraordinaire. And okay, so one of the things I have to tell you, when I was looking for someone to support me around my branding, I found this beautiful sister here. And how I found her was all my other successful millionaire and high six-figure income earner sisters. When I asked them, so who branded you? Who did your work? They're all like, this lady called Alethea Owen. So, I have to start following her. And I had met her once before, but then I started following her. And when I was ready, the mentor, the teacher, the branding expert appeared. So she is a branding expert. And known not just in North America, but international. And so, but now she's branching out, expanding with a new vision, mission, and purpose on her heart called Audacious Faith.
Yes.
And Audacious Faith is, oh my gosh, it's a community, it's an experience, it's a conversation, it's a journey. It is all that put into one. So I'm gonna pass it to Ms. Alethea Owen, so you can give an opportunity to just talk a little bit about what Audacious Faith is, and then we will jump into finding your fabulous.
Absolutely. Audacious Faith is the most significant work I have ever had the opportunity to do. And I talk a lot about really discovering your purpose and your calling. When I quit my job at State Farm a little over 13 years ago, I knew I was moving into purpose. But when God tapped me on the shoulder 2 years ago and said, hey, I want you to create Audacious Faith, I knew not only was I moving into purpose, but I had actually discovered the very reason that I had been given breath, like the very purpose that I am living on this earth. And it is the most amazing feeling and experience that I've ever had. And it's so beautiful that in the process of doing this, God has allowed me to find my fabulous, right? He sent me this beautiful woman here because he knew I would need her on my journey. And so just to tell you a little bit about Audacious Faith really is a community, an international community, I might add. We have women who live in Canada, women from the islands in St. Thomas. We have women from Albania, from the US, of course, and Dubai. Women from Australia and Europe are all connected to this amazing movement. But here's the thing. I've learned that women need accountability, and they really need support in order to do the work that they're called to do, because it can feel very lonely and it can be very challenging. And so in community, we support each other as sisters, as covenant sisters, in order to really get the work done. So we are all about helping women grow their faith in their business, teaching women how to create collaborative covenant relationships with other women, because women know how to gather well, but they don't always know how to love well. And if we could learn to love well, like the love that you and I have developed, Suzanne, we have a I'll go to the ends of the earth love for each other.
Right.
We have a you mess with my sister, like we're ride or die together.
That's right.
And I have a very sincere and deep care for this woman's success. And so we really want to create a space where women can develop those kinds of relationships with each other. In addition to that, teaching women their worth and showing them how to create substantial wealth and generate substantial wealth using their talent and expertise. So that really is what our community is about. And, really teaching women how to love God, love themselves, love their clients, and love their sisters no matter what. And so that's the fun that we're having over in Audacious Faith.
And I have to say, I think one of the beauties of Audacious Faith is the teaching of that open, honest communication, right? Mm-hmm. And the fact that you and I can have open, honest communication. And sometimes open, honest communication is not easy.
It's not easy.
But it's truth, right? Mm-hmm. And it's speaking truth to power, but doing so with love, respect, and holding that person whole and complete. And learning how to do that creates new level of relatedness, new level of relationships. Mm-hmm. And I think that when you say women don't know how to love well, mm-hmm. I think it is the part of us that is, you hurt me.
I know that you do that again.
Right. And I can't, not necessarily always able to step into that place of forgiveness, mm-hmm. step into that place of understanding, mm-hmm. step into that place of healing. Right. And also, where do we go from here? Mm-hmm. And I think that's the biggest teaching is things are, as we were talking earlier today, mm-hmm. things are going to happen. Yes. Anyone listening, you've probably had something happen with a girlfriend, a friend, anybody. Things happen.
I like to say, Suzanne, it's not if something happens in the relationship, it's when.
Right?
Because it will happen.
Right. And so it's in those moments when it happens, how do you rise and deepen the relationship?
Absolutely. Because here's what I've learned. Women, what we do now is when someone offends us or something happens, we kind of take our little ball and we leave. Like we leave the game, right? We go home. I'm not talking to her anymore. All of a sudden, someone goes 0 dark 30 on you. Right? You're like, what did I say? What did I do? Right? But what I love is that when we learn how to process what's happening to us in a relationship when things don't go well, and we, in love, commit to figuring it out, right? We become stronger in broken places.
Right. And we learn and grow, right? Mm-hmm. I think the part of having those conversations that allow us to heal, that allow us to learn more about each other. We're not, I'm creating you, creating me, in terms of as you learn and grow, I learn and grow. Mm-hmm. And as we have that interchange in that conversation, I can't help but become more.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And that's the beauty of it.
That's the beauty of it. Right?
So,
and holding that space for one another, because sometimes in a relationship, when something happens, right? And there's an offense or disagreement or misunderstanding. Sometimes you have to be the bigger woman to hold space for the other person as they process through what's going on versus taking your ball and leaving the game, right?
Absolutely.
And so sometimes we're called to do that, but that's just what loving each other is all about. We have to exhibit and demonstrate the love of Christ when we learn how to do that. And that's really what we're teaching women, is how to really demonstrate the love of Christ. The world did all sorts of things to him, but yet he loved us with an unconditional love. That doesn't mean that you continue to put yourself in a bad situation, but you can love even someone who hurts you. And we're teaching women how to do that as we're helping them grow their faith and their business. Because here's the deal. When, many of the women that we interact with, they're trying to build a better business. They're talking to me, talking to Suzanne, how can I build a better business? But here's the secret. While you're trying to build a better business, God is trying to build a better woman. Right. If you become a better woman, you'll have a better business.
and it's the truth of, I always know that I must grow to the next level of whatever I want, right? Whatever, if it's business, I've got to grow into it. And I always remind myself that that rub called growth is me being prepared to receive what I'm asking for. Because oftentimes when we were just talking about vision earlier today, and I was saying that vision lives outside your comfort zone. So for those of you that are just joining, we are in the Dominican Republic. I'm speaking with the beautiful Lethea Owen, founder of Audacious Faith. And we were talking about vision earlier today, and saying that vision lives beyond that which is comfortable. And so the access to that vision is this rub of discomfort, but it's the discomfort and those challenging moments that prepares you to be the recipient of that vision, right?
And anything that's growing, like resistance is a part of growth. Like,
absolutely.
When you think about a plant that breaks the soil, when you think about a caterpillar that becomes a butterfly and breaks out of the cocoon, we have to learn that resistance and friction and challenge, it's not required for growth, but it is oftentimes a part of growth. And we shouldn't see it as there's something wrong just because it's a little hard or a little painful, but growth, there's this resistance that just is sometimes a natural part of growth.
I think, I always believe that change doesn't happen without conflict, right? And conflict is that rub. And that rub is where growth happens. And I think it's how we're conditioned to speak to that rub, that discomfort.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so sometimes it's challenging, but it's not bad. And sometimes a challenge can be the most beautiful thing.
Yes.
It's sometimes how we frame it and how we frame it for ourselves.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So we can see, because we can tell we could just go down this path and have this conversation, and it's a great one. So I will definitely have Lethea back for an Audacious Faith conversation as we continue to unfold this beautiful journey. And so I wanted to talk to you about finding your fabulous.
Yes.
And I chose this week to talk to Lethea about finding your fabulous because of course she's here with me in the Dominican Republic. We're in Punta Cana at this gorgeous resort, sitting outside with other friends having the most juicy conversation.
Yes.
Right. And this conversation is really about you. So you came last year to the retreat, and it was really around health and fitness. So talk about when you first decided to go on this journey. What was going on for you?
Wow. What was going on for me was feeling the squeeze of caring for an aging parent. My father was in the hospital. He ended up being in there for 5 months. And so trying to focus on taking care of him, have a business to take care of, but then also the doctors found 3 tumors in my body. And so I'd had, I think, 1 of those surgeries and was scheduled to have the second surgery after returning from this retreat. But I was in that place of really being in my head. When I came last year, I was in a space of really feeling squeezed and pressed on all, fronts, and really I knew I needed to do things differently. I needed to find my fabulous because I wasn't feeling very fabulous. And I knew that if I continued to go on the way that I was going, that it would cost me a great deal, emotionally, physically, with my body, and just even in my relationships, right? And so I knew I needed help, and I had an opportunity to learn about Suzanne's work and her brilliance by just hanging out with her for the previous year and working with her on building her brand. And I knew that this was the woman that I could trust to help guide me to the next best version of myself.
I love it. I love it. So you come to the retreat, and it's interesting because everyone came for a health and wellness conversation, right? And oftentimes when people come and they think about a health and wellness conversation, they think about diet, exercise, workouts, nutrition, all those things that go in that conversation. In my world, it's the tip of the iceberg, right? So can you describe for everyone, what was your aha when you came from, I'm going to get my health on track, I'm going to take better care of yourself? What was below the iceberg aha that happened for you?
Oh, wow. So, but for me, the aha was, it's so obvious, I'm almost embarrassed to say it. But the aha for me was that God is not so needy that he would require me to lose sleep, not get the rest I needed, and not be able to focus on caring for myself in order to get his will done through me, right? Like, it was like, wow, like he's not so desperate that he would require those things of me. And so I was in a state of, I was very focused, but there was a lot of frenzy in my life. People talk about hustle and grind. I'm on hustle and grind. No offense to those individuals, but I found a new way that for me is a lot better. For me is a lot better. And I have to just share this because when I met Suzanne, and I've had a chance to go on a mastermind retreat with her as a peer and learn from her, but I have this thing that I joke with her and I say, whenever you walk into a room, you just float. And I'm like, I want what she has, right? Like, this woman just walks into a room and she just floats. And what I've later come to label that as is flow, that she operates and lives in a state of flow for herself because of the priority, how she's prioritized her life and how she's committed to living her life. And I have been able, in finding my fabulous, to go from living a very frenzied hustle and grind kind of life to living a life that I feel incorporates favor and flow. Like, I am operating from a state of being, having favor with God and being in flow. So it's not as hard, growth and change requires, or they involve some sort of friction or some kind of rub, as we're talking about. But what I want you to realize is you don't stay in that place of rub, that place of friction. When the butterfly breaks free, they are growing and changing, but they've broken free. So there was when a baby is birthed, there is the actual birthing process that has all that friction and rub as they're growing. But once the baby is on the outside, the baby is growing without that same friction that we exerted or experienced from the birthing process. Yeah, so the thing of it is I was living in the birthing process. I was living in the grind and the hustle of creation. And I've learned that if you're in the state of flow and favor, that it is a much better for your health, for your emotional well-being, your physical well-being, and even your financial well-being. It is a better state
of ease. It's the space of ease, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so just for everyone listening, so fabulous in my mind is this place this experience you have when you can manage the stuff that happens in life and do it with ease and flow, using your words. But fabulous is here. It lives here. It's a way of thinking. It's a mindset.
Yes, it is.
Once you realize that, okay, God doesn't require me to go without sleep, go without food, juggle 65 million things, and feel like I'm killing myself to produce. What was the mindset shift that gave you access to this experience of ease and flow?
Actually, what gave me access are the words that you spoke to me at the conference last year. When I first showed up, you grabbed my hands and you looked into my eyes, and I say this chick, she hears from God, like she knows some stuff, right? Because the card she gave us this year, she said some stuff to me that was like, oh, so perfect, and I'm hearing that from other people as well. But you grabbed my hands and you spoke life into my crazy, frenzied situation. And you said, Lethea, what I hope most and above all for you is that you learn how to serve others from a place that does not require you to diminish or to become exhausted. Like that I could learn to give, as our sister Deneen talks about, giving from your overflow instead of giving from a place of depletion, right? And you said that, and it activated something in me, and it allowed me to become open to the fact that maybe God doesn't need me, like he's not that desperate for me. And that was kind of like a big aha at the event last year. And so then having the tools that you taught that really helped me to get clear on my future vision, or just my vision of my future life, my next best version of myself, and then being able to declare, to just declare, like, you know, you decide. It's the Latin word for that is desitere. I think it's desitere. And it really means to cut away, to make a decision, to get rid of the stuff, just make a decision and get rid of some stuff. And I decided, and I declared in the process that you walked us through what my new life would look like. And I read a book shortly before the event last year called Non-Negotiables by Sam Silverstein. And so in reading that book and then going through this event, I became clear on my non-negotiables. And I've lived them in 2018, which because of that, I am healthier. I am wealthier. My husband and I have a better relationship. I have better relationships with others. And I am living on purpose and doing the work that I've been created and called to do without that frenzy that I was living with before.
And you know, it's interesting because when I look at you, I see, and I'd love for you to speak to this, I see a whole new level of self-love and self-respect. And I know, and people might be listening going, well, what does she mean, a new level of self-respect? Because it wasn't like you didn't respect yourself before. But I think that there is a belief that's in the world that there's a way that respect shows up. But as you go through the Fit, Fab, and Fulfill process, it's really understanding that there's a way that respect and self-care go hand in hand, and it shifts everything for you if you understand that how you care for self is equal to your self-respect. And so that's what I'm seeing on you. So talk a little bit about that for you.
Yeah. First of all, no one wants to be wrong, right? No one wants to be wrong. And what I love about your work is it allows someone to be confronted with the truth and the reality of where they are without judgment, without shame, without guilt. So I was able to see how I cared about myself, but I wasn't always taking care of myself. There's a difference in saying, you know, I am important to myself. Like, it's important to me that I do the right things for myself. So in the living, sometimes it's hard to make the decision when you haven't set the intention. Like when you don't set the intention, it's hard, even though in the back of your head somewhere you have a desire to eat better, to live better, to exercise, to do whatever. But if you haven't clearly set the intention, it's hard to actually live it out when you go into the real world. Like we're in Punta Cana right now, and so it's easier. I'm hanging out with Suzanne, and so like everything is mindful, right? Yeah, everything is. I'm mindful of everything. But when I have to head back to St. Louis, I have to have something grounded in me that keeps me doing the things that are going to be best for me. And so that whole self-care and that self-love and that self-respect and self-knowledge, for me, it started with self-knowledge. Like I had to look in the mirror and really see myself and make some decisions about what I want, what I really wanted. Because the woman, even though I loved myself, the woman that I saw in the mirror wasn't the woman I wanted to be. And that doesn't mean that I didn't love myself. That doesn't mean that I, didn't care about myself. What I realized, what Suzanne has taught us, is that being healthy is not the same as being well. And being confident is not the same as being cared for, right? So I was confident in who I am and what I'm supposed to do, but I wasn't really caring for myself the way I needed. And I still have some growth, but that's why I'm back. I still got some growth, y'all. I still got some stuff I need to
And I think what you're really speaking to is for me, and if you know me, I love language, and I love putting behaviors and actions to language. Hence, leading with character. It's all about how do these behaviors show up in our world. And I think what you're really speaking to about is oftentimes we'll say, "Oh my gosh, yeah, I love myself, I care about myself," but then when you talk about is your thinking, your words, and your actions in alignment. I think for many people, they come and they go, oh, I'm totally out of alignment. So here I'm committed.
Right.
Right. But it hasn't translated into behaviors. It hasn't translated into an emotion. It hasn't translated into a way of being.
Right. And that's the progression that I see. Like there is I think, I'm thinking about being healthier and shifting my life. Right. And then I move into doing. And that has to become a way of life so that I can then shift into being. So you can go from thinking about being healthy to doing things that, are good for you, that provide self-care so you're healthy and well, to actually being well. And I learned that just going through the process that you walked us through.
Oh, this is so good.
I know. I feel so rich. Like, I feel rich, not money, not just in the area of money and friends, but I feel rich in the tools that I now have to create the life that I want. Right?
And I think also the life you're destined for.
Yeah.
Right. And one of the things that, we talk about when you're lining up your vision and all these pieces is that, are you creating yourself, your physical, emotional, spiritual self, as a person who can hold and carry that vision? And I think when you start we look at health as a to-do, check to do, did ate right, went to the gym, blah, 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 right? And when we do it from that, it's easy to do and it's easy not to do.
Yeah.
Right? I think when you look at it in the context of purpose and vision, it takes on a whole new meaning when you think about, I got to care for myself. I got to take care of me. I got to make sure I have energy. I got to be vital. I got to be flexible. I got to be able to move. And then self-care comes from a place of, this is vital because it carries something that this vision that I'm speaking into existence. So what happened when you got that shift for yourself? What occurred for you?
When that shift happened for me, I found, as we said earlier, that there was just this ease that showed up with me doing the work that I'm called to do. And it was more than desire, like the desire to eat healthier, the desire to exercise, the desire to live differently. There's a word I can't think of it right now, but it was like greater than desire. It was almost like this thirst, this craving I craved and wanted to feel better every day. Where that thing that I used to eat or would, eat, or the choices I would make before that I felt like a lot of power over me, they lost their power because I desired this new state of living and being more than I desired the things that were holding me back or causing me harm. And in the mindset shift, when that happened, I feel like my work became more powerful because there's a clarity that comes when you make that kind of a shift. And I feel that clarity breeds speed. Like when you're able to
say that again. Clarity
breeds speed.
I like that. Right. I so like that. And it's interesting because I think when you're actually speaking to that pull is, I know for myself, that pull is when I understand what aligns, right? And once I have an understanding of this is my vision, right? This is my purpose. This is who I'm required to be, my beingness.
Yes.
To fulfill on this, that pulls me, right? So, it is bigger than desire. It's almost like I'm pulled into, we talk about having such a passion for something that you're pulled into action. And I think when it all lines up, you're pulled into care because you must. You cannot.
Right.
Because if you don't, you can't fulfill.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And then it becomes, and that's I think where that fabulous comes from. It is when you are like, oh my gosh, I'm so on purpose, and everything is so on purpose. I eat on purpose. I care on purpose. Like and it's you feel like can't touch me.
Yeah. I just want to say something about to piggyback off of that. Fazia said that if we aren't mindful and living with intention, we go through life on autopilot, right? So thank you, Fazia, for sharing that, because here's what I want to share about this. Most people don't know, but I'm actually earning my pilot's license, and so that's one of my ways of relieving stress is playing the piano and flying. And even when
I don't know if that would relieve my stress, but okay.
So I want to just take this autopilot aspect of this. You see, even when pilots turn on autopilot, they still have their hand on the gears, right? They still have their hands on the controls. So here's what happens: we sometimes forget, right? We trick ourselves into thinking that we're still guiding, we're still everything's still okay because we have our hands on the control. But as Fazia said, we really checked out. We're on autopilot. And so that, I think, is a trick and a scheme and a thing that sometimes happens to cause us to not be real with ourselves about where we are, because our hand is still on the control, but yet we are living on autopilot. And so that's where we have to check our BS, as my friend Coach Aquan says. She says our belief system. So we have to check our belief system and say, what is causing me to continue to show up this way, even though in the back of my head or in the front of my head or mind, I know I want something different. I really want something different. And I love, Suzanne, that you call it finding your fabulous. Because fabulous doesn't, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, fabulous doesn't just come and knock you upside the head and say, I'm here. Like, there is a process where you have to set intention, as we've talked about, and you have to have tools, like the tools that Suzanne gives us to really find it, right? And if you're going on a journey, if you're going on an adventure, if you're going on an escapade, or you're investigating something, you have to have the right tools and the right information to be able to make sense of where you are and what's going on. And so finding your fabulous, I just want to share that with you because it is work. You have to do the work.
And this is the other beautiful thing is most people, and this is why health is such a slippery thing, right? Is that most people think that once they find it, they got it, right? I found it last year, I'm good. I hit that whatever it is. I found it last year, I'm good. And the reality is it's a requirement to find it every day, right? Every day, imagine a journey of finding your fabulous. Imagine a journey of just getting fit, right? And so this physical thing is really around the physical body and getting fit. Finding your fabulous is really about aligning the mindset with all these different things. And fulfillment is just that emotional state that comes with all the pieces.
Yeah.
And so I think what you're really speaking to as you begin to evolve and grow is that it's a continuous process. And as you go on the journey, more reveals, more ahas come aware. There's sometimes you're like, oh darn, what? Right? So there's all this awareness, but I think if you're willing to accept and continue to be on the journey and understand that the journey doesn't end. It truly doesn't. It's like every day.
You're not seeking a destination.
No. And I think that's what makes it the evolution of keeping all these things in front of you, your health, your fitness, your wellness, in the same way we keep our business goals and all those things in front of us. Me and you staying connected is keeping it so in front, right? And connecting each day and just keeping, myself right here. Let me go find her today, right? Let me go find her today. So I want to see
Let me share this one. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Fozzie is saying, I love the analogy. And Fozzie's on her journey. So Fozzie's going to be here. She is. Oh, we got Taria.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see. Clarity breeds speed. Was that not worth repeating, Taria? Oh my goodness, clarity breeds speed. That's the one on autopilot from Fazia. Fazia's got some good ones.
Yeah.
Give from your overflow, and that's what you're learning. For me, I remember when my cup was empty. My cup was empty, cracked, and someone microwaved it. I swear to God. I swear to God. And it was like, okay, I got to go nurture this cup, fill it back up. And for me, the vision is every day I fill it and it overflows, and I give from what's in the saucer, not from what's in the cup.
So, finding my fabulous Suzanne, I got a little emotional because of the gift that has been for me in the last year. I know that I am created to be a solution to someone's problem.
Mm.
And if I can't show up because I'm sick, if I can't show up because I'm not well, emotionally, mentally, physically, or financially, if I can't show up because I'm not well, someone suffers.
Yeah, the world's like missing out.
Exactly. And so that is huge for me, that when I don't do what I need to do to make sure I am able to operate in power and with clarity and with the tools and resources that I've been given, when I can't do that, when I can't show up as the solution, somebody else suffers.
Yeah. And I always end with the world's waiting, right? The world's waiting. There's someone uniquely waiting for you in this moment. The world's waiting. And you have your own brilliance. You have your own extra special way of showing up. And the world is waiting for you. Mm-hmm. And the world is waiting for me. Mm-hmm. And I think when you're talking about self-care, it is really the commitment to fill my cup up first, so that I'm full.
Yes.
Because the world is waiting. Mm-hmm. And then it gives you the capacity to give from your overflow. And the fabulous that you're experiencing is it's a total different experience to give from overflow.
Yes.
When you're full than to give from that empty cup.
Because when we give from a space of being depleted, there's resentment sometimes that comes with that. We're over serving and giving, and then we're like, why am I the only one over here serving and washing dishes? But we're giving from that place.
Let me tell you, when I first went on this journey, my coach looked at me and he said, "Oh, you're the angry giver." I was like, "The what?" And he goes, "Oh, you're the angry giver." I was like, "Angry giver?"
Yeah.
And Lord, I was pissed. I was a pissed off, angry, upset.
Yeah, resent was my thing. It was like, why do I care so much? Right?
Smiling, and behind that, seething. And he called me. He was like, "Hey, you the angry giver." So true. And then he told me I created it. I was like, okay, this conversation done. Done. I don't like you, but.
My spiritual mom was like that. She would speak truth to me. And I'm like, we're done. Check, please. Check, please.
But then it marinates. Marinates right here. Yeah. So, first of all, thank you. Thank you. Just for the uniqueness that's you and the brilliance that is you and your willingness to give and share that brilliance with so many, and I say it all the time. My desire for you is that you continue to create, grow, pour into others, but you do it on a foundation that is so solid and filled with health, love, growth, your own spiritual journey, your own physical journey, so that when you show up full. Yes. Because when you are full, watch out, right? And we know, like, when you're like, I've seen the first time I saw this woman on stage, I was like, damn, she is powerful, right? And so you know when you're in that place, right? And my desire is that you continue to show up with such beauty, power, and grace that like rooms are just like, what happened? What happened? And that's the fabulous. That's the care. That's the. So what's next for Lethea?
So what's next for Lethea is like I really am. I've come to the point of understanding that in what we're doing with Audacious Faith, that God is putting me in a position to model what He wants for His daughters. And so what's next for me is to continue my journey of self-knowledge, self-awareness, self-discovery, so that I can improve self-care, self-love, because the women that follow me and the women that are connected to Audacious Faith, like they listen to what I say. And I realize that God has given me the ability to move people, that people are magnetically attracted to the movement, and that this matters to them. And so I'm kind of on my journey is really, I'm learning to live. And we talked about mastery this morning.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm learning and seeking mastery for myself so that I can model for others how, they too can experience, getting fit, finding their fabulous, and just really living a deeply fulfilled life. So that's a big part of, we talk about growing your faith in your business. And while we're doing that, this is kind of the undercurrent.
Yeah.
This is the foundation that I want to make sure women are equipped with. In Audacious Faith, we talk a lot about, a person really understanding their identity in Christ, knowing their purpose and value, having intimacy with God, knowing their worth, and then getting paid well to do what they love. And I realized that whole knowing your worth is so connected.
It's knowing your worth,
yes,
right? Day in, day out. And I think it's understanding that you model your worth to the world.
Absolutely.
I was taught that I teach the world how to treat me.
Yes.
And I do that by modeling my worth.
Mm-hmm.
So you're and as you model, the world will respond to that modeling.
Absolutely.
But also, I think women will respond in like, that hustle and grind thing, maybe
there's another way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if we think about Marianne Williamson's poem that talks about we are powerful beyond measure, one of the things she teaches us in that poem is that we shouldn't diminish ourselves so that others feel good, right? But what that poem teaches me is that when we stand in our power, we actually model the way, we create space, we open doors for other women to do the same. Mm-hmm. And that's really the burden
it's
that I'm carrying.
It's a permission.
Not an unhealthy burden, but a healthy burden that keeps me praying, that keeps me growing, that keeps me, coming to places like this so that I can become the woman, the next best version of myself, so that I can model for others.
I love it. Yeah. And Lethea, I see Brent Simpson. He's here with us at the Fit, Fab, and Fulfilled retreat, Punta Cana. So he hopped on. Hey, Brent, and he's like, "Let the emotions show."
And there's just this beautiful opportunity to just be real. Like that's what my birthday card from Kathy, who's my sister, and she's here with us as well. And she's my adventure buddy, right? We do so many things together. Well, on the birthday card she gave me, it said something like, being who you are, like showing the world who you really are. Like that's the most beautiful thing we could ever become. Like that's true beauty, when we really just embrace who we really are. And so I really love that. I love that this is all about self-care and self-love is really about embracing who you are in the process. And the thing of it is that even though you're embracing who you are, so now I'm just gonna kind of tell on myself a little bit. So when Suzanne and I started, like I was down here, I'm like, wait a minute, let me go get a pillow. So I went to get a pillow, so now I sit up with Suzanne, right?
Yeah.
So just the idea of just accepting who you are. I'm short. I was like, I'm short. Let me go get a pillow to fix this problem, right?
My mother would say, but you can reach, girl.
That's right. And so in life, the reality of it is that there may be someone smarter than you. There may be someone who's more educated than you. There may be someone who does something better than you. That's okay. Someone else being better than you in an area doesn't make them better than you. That's what did you hear that?
I think you need to repeat that.
Someone who's better than us in a particular area doesn't make them better than us. It just makes them better than us in that particular area. And there are things, that's why this collaborative covenant relationship concept is so powerful, because there are things that Suzanne can do for me that I can't do for myself. There are things I can do for her,
trust me,
that she can't do for herself. But when we bring the power of a collaborative relationship, and we've actually, loved on each other to the point where we're kind of like ride or die, right? When you get to that point, you find that you don't have to do this alone, and that it's actually more fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you don't do it alone.
Absolutely. And I think that it creates that mutual accountability, and that I'm going to be a stand for you.
Yeah.
And I know you're gonna be a stand for me. So, yay! Okay, so we're having a little love fest right now. It's all right. So thank you all for joining us. And so just to let you, first of all, someone is probably going, Audacious Faith, I want to know more. These women are like rocking it. They look good, rocking our pink, right? I had to come get my Audacious Faith wrap because she showed up in her pink. I was like, okay, yeah. So how does someone connect and find out more about Audacious Faith?
Yeah, so we had some interesting and exciting things that are happening from this particular live. If you would either just message me or Suzanne message us on Facebook and let us know you're interested in learning more, and give us your email address. We will send you some details of some things that are going to be happening in a few days. So you want to, kind of tune in. So that really right now, we're kind of like, we got some stuff brewing. So I can't give you like all the deets right now on the live, but if you would message us and let us know that you're interested. Donna joined us. Yeah, hey, Donna. Bruce, I think. But if you let us know, then we will definitely put you on the list to receive an email for the big announcement that's coming.
Oh, and you do not want to miss this journey. Mm-hmm. If this is something that speaks to your heart, you definitely want to definitely connect with one of us and find out more. And if anyone is thinking, oh my gosh, fit, fab, and fulfilled, what exactly is that? They're in the Dominican Republic. I think we're going to be in Costa Rica next year, right? So if you want to find out how you can really take on a self-care, self-love, self-respect conversation and really look at getting fit, feeling and finding your fabulous, and living a deeply fulfilled life, that will definitely impact how you show up in the world, in your relationships, in your business, in all different ways, so that you can totally create a life on purpose and have more, and do so with ease and flow. Yes. Definitely connect with me, Suzanne Hart. You can reach me on Facebook, and we'll have that conversation. It is a special journey, and it's a journey by invitation, but the community that's being created is absolutely fabulous. So, and we got to welcome Bruce.
Yeah, hey Bruce, what's up, guys? And the other thing too, Suzanne is so giving. She's brilliant, right? And she's also so giving. So if you have a question and you weren't able to get it answered, or if we haven't touched upon the answer, please just in the comments post your question, because Suzanne, she goes back after the shows and she looks at the feed. And if you have a question and you post it, she'll respond in some way, because she's committed to helping you grow on your journey as well. So don't forget to do that if you have a question.
Absolutely. And the last thing I'm going to say is if you listen to this live and you said, oh my goodness, this can touch the life of some friend, right? That I believe needs to understand what it means to find your fabulous, that needs to understand what it means that to go beyond the self-care that's going to the gym, working out, eating, like all that stuff. And that's important, but the deeper stuff, the mindset stuff behind it, share this video with them and say, you know what, I'm sending this to you with total love. I watched this video and I thought of you, and definitely share it. Because, I know for myself, when something touches me and moves me, I know that names start popping into my head, and I want to bless them.
Yes.
Bless them with this beautiful sister right here, right? because I may not have her back for a minute because she's going to be doing some things. But then we might have to have you back to talk more about Audacious Faith. Yes. But let them get to know this beautiful sister. Let them find out what the Fit Fab Fulfilled Retreat is about. Let them find out what Audacious Faith is about. So share the video. Yes. And thank you all for being patient and coming back, because we were having a little bit of technical difficulties because we're in the Dominican Republic. Mm-hmm. And we're moving around. So thank you all for just your patience and being willing to come back. And thank you for showing up to just listen and have this beautiful conversation, showing up for yourself, showing up for us. And we will be back next week at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The conversation is going to be on integrity. And it's one of my favorite words. It's one of my favorite habits, because I think it's the underpinning of every other habit. And we're going to talk about how accountability really increases your confidence and your trust in self and your belief in self. So definitely join us. We're gonna sign off from the Dominican Republic.
We're going to get us some amazing food.
We're going to go hang out on the beach for a little bit. So talk to you soon. Take care.
Be blessed and be encouraged.
All right. Lethea Owen, Audacious Faith.